Hello, my name is Xiaodong Hou. We usually require the mask, but today we have no student here, and for better video recording, I just take it off. And I'm the manager of this Environment Analysis and Research Lab. Welcome to my session. This lab has two parts. So on this side is a water sampling preparation lab. The other is water analysis lab. So when students come into the lab, the first thing will be the safety glass requirement. Since we're dealing with a lot of hazardous stuff like the corrosive chemical, flammable solvent, and those we also have the compressed gas bottle. Another important item is we are not allowed to drink or eating in this lab. So follow me into this sample preparation lab. So on the left, you will see a fire extinguisher in case there's any fire, and then we will also ask a student to wear the gloves and the goggles all the time inside this lab. So all the chemicals are stored in this chemical safety cabinet. You will see the big sign. The left side is for the flammable organic solvent. On the right side is very corrosive and acid, very concentrated and corrosive acid. So students must do the experiment inside this film hold all the time, and then we can make sure the ventilation is on. And then another important item is this window cannot be lifted over this height. So if the student generate any waste with their experiment, then we gotta label those waste, store it correctly, and then dispose it correctly. So we gotta have the safety officer to come collect those waste and dispose it correctly. In case there is a chemical spill, then we get treated with this chemical spill treat kit. Especially if there's any spill on the student body and like the eyes, then we get washed right away because that will be an emergency. And if there's a spill on the hand, then normally we flush it with a plenty of water, right? We use this sink faucet. So follow me into this water purification system. Since this is a water analysis lab, we make high purity water. You will see the faucet water gets into the softener first and then goes into the boiler, and then collect the distilled water in that plastic tank, and then go back to the bottom. There's a filtration system. Then you will get the deionized water. So that's everything about this lab. Please follow me into that sample analysis lab. So the same thing, since we deal with a lot of same chemicals, then the safety cautions will be applied on this lab at the other sample preparation lab. Another thing is we have this door lock policy. Basically, if there's no student, no people in the lab, then we can have the door locked all the time. So please follow me. So when students come into the lab, the first thing we will try to introduce the lab safety requirement. There will be more details than what we put on the door sign. So, and then you will see the safety gears, and over here we have the first aid kit. Because we deal with a lot of glass, sometimes the student cut a finger, then you need those bandage, those safety kit. And then we also have another fire extinguisher. So for the sink use, we don't allow any waste disposal directly into the sink, even just water. we need to neutralize the water to pH 7. So if there's a heavy metal water, then we can correct them and have the safety office to dispose of them. So, and then for the chemical storage, you will see there's two big yellow chemical storage cabinet. We store those chemicals in alphabetical order, and then normally the solid chemical on the bottom and the liquid on the bottom, and then keep the door all closed all the time, and then the chemical cabinet will be ventilated all the time. So now let's introduce the major task we do in this lab. We are doing the water analysis. So basically you have cations and anions in the water. So on this side we have two machines is for the cation analysis. This machine is called a microwave digester. So if you have a solid sample like a coal or ash or soil, those kind of geological sample, then we gotta use the acid to digest it. So since we use the acid, so again the safety gear must be engaged. So especially there's an acid we call a hydrofluoric acid, which is very corrosive. Even the film hood we just see in the other lab is not qualified for that. So in the second floor of this lab, of this building, we have a hydrofluoric acid certified lab to deal with that. So basically, you gotta keep dealing with the hydrofluoric acid or any other acid, and then seal it in this sample vessel, and then deliver it into this digester, microwave digester. Also, when you run the machine, you can have the ventilation on all the time. The same thing is for this machine. That is called ICP-OES. This is inductive coupling plasma. So that's for the metal cations measurement. So the sample will be a liquid sample, and then goes into the system, and then use the plasma and spectrometer to measure the concentration of each metals. So normally we train students to use this if they have a lot of sample. So you will notice we have a lot of gas bottles for those machines. So all the bottle will be fast on a fixed object like the bench all the time. For this machine, we use the argon. We use the pure argon. So there are some other backup bottles must be fastened on the wall. We also have two ovens. This is a common oven just for drying sample or the glassware. There's a muffle furnace to a little bit higher temperature, so must be cautious. You gotta wear some thick gloves when you're dealing with that. So we have a machine. This machine is called a carbon analyzer. Basically, that is to analyze the carbon content of a sample. We can do either a solid sample or a liquid sample. So these two are separated. The basic principle is you burn your sample, use a furnace, and then you convert the carbon to a carbon dioxide, and then use the infrared detector to quantify the concentration of the carbon dioxide, and then you get the concentration. So follow me at the last. We have a last piece of equipment over here. We call this equipment is an ion chromatography. So those machine is for the cation. These machines for the anion. So we can measure 7 major anions, fluorine, chlorine, chloride, and nitrate, nitrogen, or nitrogen, phosphate, and phosphate or sulfate. So student can go to the field, collect the water sample, and then sometimes they do need a filtration, and then run the water sampler, and then the automated sampler, and then use this machine to measure that. So this is about everything in this lab. We also have some other small device for field trip testing. Students coming to rent or those equipment and then do some testing on the site, because the water sample sometimes cannot be preserved more than a day or even few hours. So that's everything we have in this lab. Thank you guys for doing the evaluation. If you have any question, please contact me. Thank you. Appreciate it.